Hello, we're Where Next Adventures, and in this video we're going to show you how we pack for when we go on our weekend trips abroad. These are carry-on bags only. We don't usually pay for suitcases. We usually just take a rucksack and then it goes underneath the seat in front of us. That helps us save money and keep our trips to budget. So let's see what we're going to put in for our upcoming trip when we go to Belfast in Northern Ireland.
This trip is in February, just for context regarding weather and temperature.
So believe it or not, this is all of the stuff that we take usually for a 1 to 2 day trip. This time when we go to Northern Ireland, we're actually there for 3 days and 2 nights. But we do break this down into 2 rucksacks, and each of us carries certain things that we need and we carry them at certain times. So as we go through, we'll show you what each person takes and how it's packed into our luggage and how we can then store it safely and securely underneath the seat in front of us. So we'll start with Cam and what he takes.
Okay, so we've both got the same bag. I've got it on Amazon, and we'll leave a link in the description. It's just a standard rucksack. I think they actually called it a school rucksack backpack, but it's the right size for what we want. And when you're walking around a city, you want it to be not huge, but we like the fact that it had different compartments inside. It's got like if you did take a laptop, you could put it in there, or book. You have a big compartment here. You have this, which is really handy. It's like a mesh, but you could put like little tiny bits in there. It's a zip one. You've also got on the sides here where you could put water bottles or drinks. And then at the front here, you've got a big compartment here with a little hook. I've never used this, but you could use this if you want, maybe a wallet or something. And then this front area here is another zip, which I've already got my wallet in there, which I should have took out. So that's the first item, is your wallet. Okay, so we'll start off with clothing down this end. So I have set these into 2 different sections. So these are 2 separate days, but also one of them I'm going to be wearing on the day we travel, which is a full day. It is supposed to be pretty cold in Belfast, so a lot of my clothing is jumper based. So I always take an extra pair of underwear, because you never know. You never know what could happen. You could just have a very bad meal and need an extra pair. So I always take an extra day than I need. Same with socks as well, because if you're doing a lot of walking, you could end up having sweaty feet or whatever, or you just may want to change your socks. So I always take an extra spare socks and underwear.
Or you might just be delayed. We never know. We might have to stay an
Might
extra
stay
night.
extra day. So having them 2 things are good, because you can wear the same jumper again the next day if you wanted to. And that's a lot of the time what I do. I always take a jumper that I could wear 2 days in a row. I know that's like, but I take an extra t-shirt instead to change underneath. So that's my clothing there. So 3 pairs of socks, 3 pairs of underwear, 2 t-shirts, 2 jumpers, and I will also add another t-shirt to this, which I'll be wearing on the day. So that's my clothing. And what I normally do in my bag is I won't put that in like that. I tend to roll them like this. And I either lay it in the bag sideways like this or like that. It really depends on what else I'm taking. And if I'm taking extra clothing, then I need to rearrange that. But doing this, it means that I can slot them in different ways. Next piece of clothing is a hat. Now, when we go to hot places, obviously wouldn't take this, but I am taking this time. So it's just like a beanie hat. I could potentially wear this on the way to Belfast. I wouldn't necessarily have to have it in my bag, but I'm just putting it here because I'm probably going to put it in my bag. Same with gloves. Both these things could just go in my coat pocket, but I'll just pretend they're in the bag. So that's clothing part. Now, onto electronics. Now, we both take different things each time, but it's pretty much the same stuff. So I'll start off with this. This is my SLR camera. So it's a big camera. This will be the first trip that I'm taking it, because I want to do a bit more photography this time. So that will be going in a bag. It's not light and it is heavy. So I will decide whether this is something I want to take all the time, especially when we're doing these weekend trips. We then have all these leads here, which are for our mics, which I'm wearing now. We've got one for the mic, one for Andy's mic, one for the camera, one to charge our power bank, which we don't tend to end up using this, do we? but it's always good to have it just in case you need your phone topped up or you need to charge up your mic or something. And also this power bank is solar powered, so it recharges itself if you leave it outside. So obviously not in the rain, but if we were abroad and we were like sitting having coffee somewhere, I could just put this on the table and it could start recharging itself, which is also a good feature. But what I do with all these chargers, I forgot to add, this is my Fitbit charger. And I also take my phone charger, which looks like these. My phone can charge with this charger as well, but I do have a separate one for that. All these leads go into this little mesh bag that I've got here. I can't remember what this was for. It was for something. It was like maybe a power bank or something, but I've used it for this. I pop all the leads in here, like so that they're all nice and neat and there's just not a tangled up mess in my bag. And then I take this. Now this is like an extension lead and it has three micro SDs, USB, sorry, and 3 USB ports. So that means that I can charge 2 mics, 2 cameras, my phone, all in one go without having different plugs for different things. Because sometimes we have experience from going to a hotel where there's only one plug. So having this is just a lifesaver. And if you go to a European country, you just put adapter on this. So this also goes into this bag and I just wrap that up like that and slot that in here. Now the power bank will go in something that Andy's got, but sometimes I hold it. So that's why it's loose at the moment. But I would just do that up and it would slot into my bag in a minute. Then we have this bag here, which is for my camera equipment. This is for the pocket that Andy is currently holding. It has a case, this is new. It's a hard case so that the gimbal doesn't move. The camera will go inside of here. And in here, I've got my SD cards. This is where they store extra ones. So there's currently one in the camera at the moment, and then there's one in the other camera that we're taking. But we always like to take a spare just in case we end up filming so much stuff that we need an extra card. So that goes in there. And then in here as well, I have a power like charging thing for the camera. So you just plug this in the bottom and it charges the camera up like a power bank essentially. So this whole thing is the DJI Pocket, Osmo Pocket, that goes in here when we're not using it, and I carry that. And then the last electronic is my headphones. Now I need these for the plane and the airport. I can't sit on a journey and not. I don't read, I don't do stuff like that. I have to listen to music. And I got this for Christmas from Andy, and they're Sony, and they do last forever. You can charge this up and have them on for 24 hours and it doesn't even get to 50%. It's really, really good, like battery. So I will only need to charge these up once for a whole trip and I'll still have battery when I get back. But if I do want to charge it, it's exactly the same attachment as the cameras and my phone, which is the good thing about all the equipment we do take. They all have the same charger, which means that we don't need to take 100 different leads if we didn't want to. The only reason we're taking that many leads is because we have so many different compartments that we need to charge at the same time. So they also they turn this way. So what I tend to do is in my bag, where I said earlier about the this back bit with the book, you can just slot it in there.
And when you've got clothes around it as well, it provides extra padding, doesn't it?
And obviously on the plane, I just wear them anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And then I've only got a couple more bits for my bag. We have a water bottle. We always take this, well, sometimes Andy doesn't always empty it and we get stopped at security. He'll say it's just once, but I'm sure he'll do it again at some point. But we always empty this before we go through security. Normally, 9 times out of 10, every airport has a free water filling station. We refill this and then we pop it in the side of our bags. It's just extra. I'm one of these people, I rather just go and buy a drink. But it also is good if you're in an area where there isn't loads of shops to get a drink. So we always take that. So always take that. And then toiletries, Andy takes a bag of toiletries, but I have these two separate things in my bag at all times. So I have Vaseline, which is for your lips, just because traveling does really dry out your lips, and especially going from cold to hot, hot to cold, and that's not necessarily in weather temperature. It can be going on a hot plane outside to something really cold. You should just protect your lips. So I have that, and I always put that in this area here, in this area there with the zip, because it's easy for me to get in and out of my bag. Then I like to smell nice, and I always find that when you go away, you can't take anything to spray yourself unless you've got these mini samples. So I have a company called Bubble and Bathe, and we are developing a product at the moment which is called a body essence, scented body essence. It's like a rollable perfume, but it's made with oil, and all you do is you just roll it on your pulse points, and you just smell amazing. And it lasts. We took this away, didn't we? And we used it every day, a couple of times a day, and it's like how much is left still.
It's basically full.
Yeah. So this is only 10 mil, and you can take obviously 100 mil through with security. So this isn't a problem. So I always take that because now I smell amazing. But it's coming out very, very soon. So keep your eyes peeled. I'll put a link in the description for the website.
It's also quite nice as well because we often have to get showered and packed up on the day we leave, and then we're not actually home until late. So you can use it to just freshen up a little bit later on in the day.
And yeah, I always just put it on my wrist, my neck. I can put it anywhere really, but yeah, it just makes you smell nice. And we're developing quite a few different scents, so they'll be coming out very soon. So bring that along. And then the last things is I always like to take a couple of protein bars. These ones are from Lidl. And the reason I take that is solely in this bit here for if I'm really hungry and we haven't got anything, I just need something. And always a packet of mints because we don't want smelly breath. And that's me done. Oh, my phone. I always take my phone.
That's usually in your pocket though.
Yeah, my phone's in my pocket, and my wallet I always keep in my bag because you can pay for things on your phone pretty much. The wallet's a bit irrelevant, isn't it? That's what I take. There's pretty much... the only things that are not here that I might add, sunglasses, and my coat, obviously I'll be taking, but I'm not going to put this here because I'll be wearing it. The things I would take that are extra are sunglasses. Maybe if we were going away, we'd have a little sun cream, and if it was a hot place. And clothing would obviously change depending on climate. But that's pretty much it. Over to Andy.
So just like Cam, I also have one of these bags. Mine's a slightly different colour, and we've just decided that he has the black one and I have the navy blue one, but it's exactly the same setup. So usually I start off with clothes as well. So I've got my clothes here. These ones I've left to the side because I'll be wearing those on the day that we travel. But like Cam was saying, often what I'll do is I'll take a couple of changes of t-shirts. So I'll wear the jumpers and it might look like I'm wearing the same thing, but I always change my t-shirt underneath. This trip as well, I've got a slightly thicker overshirt. This one is a button-down shirt, so it's one of those which probably perfect for like February. When we're in Belfast, it says it's going to be 6 degrees, so we want layers more than anything. But I often take more of the logistical stuff, how we get there, I hold the passports, all that sort of stuff. What we've got next are the passports. So we've got both of our passports here, and then we've got our GHIT cards as well, just in case. You never know if you're going to get into trouble or you need to use some healthcare in foreign countries. I also take the boarding passes. Got those here, and we print them out purely because you just think, what happens if your phone stops working and you're at the gate or you need it? You've then just got it. So they all stay in the bag, and often what I'll do is I'll prepare the night before by putting the correct boarding pass in each passport. So all we have to do when we get to the departure section is we just pull them out and then use them and put them away. So that's the kind of logistic stuff. I also take the toiletries. So over here, I've laid out some of the toiletries, and we've tried to do this in a way which means we're not having to buy things when we are in the airport. So this toothpaste has been on 2 trips already, and it's still okay. Probably got another trip's worth in that one. So that's for both of us. I've also got Vaseline as well. Usually I keep this one in my coat pocket because if it's in my bag it's harder to get and then you're less likely to use it. Also take some tissues as well, especially some of the trips we've done recently are quite cold, so you just need a tissue when you're going in and out of the cold. This is a bit of an odd one. We take spoons with us because sometimes in the mornings, like on the first day that we're there properly, we don't necessarily want to buy breakfast. The way we do our videos as well is we like to get out, we want to start experiencing the place. So often we'll find somewhere where we can get a yogurt or something like that, a small thing of cereal, and what you don't often get in a hotel is a spoon. And I'll be honest, it's not really the thing I want to go down and ask reception for. So we just take a few of these and they're there if we need them. We also take with us these roll-on deodorants. I'm not a big fan of roll-on deodorant, but it just gets over the issue of carrying aerosols. You never know as well if you're going to end up with a headache or anything like that. Definitely, we've been on trips where it's been a bit of a long day. We also have a drive back afterwards, so making sure we've got that just in case means that we can have some pain relief if we need it. So that goes all in here. So what I'll do off camera in a moment is I'll put them all in this bag. And the reason why I put them in a see-through bag is because some of the countries that we visit, they do require you to take your liquids and those sorts of items out. So if they're just in one bag, usually they're placed at the top of my bag. I can just take them out, put them in the tray straight away, and I'm not having to fish through trying to find everything that has potentially liquid on it. One thing I didn't mention that goes in that bag is hand sanitizer. One thing we've learned from trips in the past is you go on the trip, you come home, and then you're a little bit tired and you get run down and you sort of end up with a cold. But what it probably is because you're touching hundreds of surfaces in a country that you're not used to. Even in the UK as well, when we've been to London and Bristol and other places, you go onto buses or whatever and you're touching surfaces. So it's just a way of trying to keep some of that at bay and also keep your hands a little bit clean whilst out and about. I think next time we do once this is finished, I'll be looking to get a better hand sanitizer because it's got one of these lids on it. You're probably familiar with this. It's just got like a sort of push lid and then it opens up. That is a little bit weak. So it's fine when it's in the bag because if it did explode, then it would just go in the bag. But on our last trip, when we were coming back from Venice, Cam said, "Oh, can I just have some hand sanitizer?" As we'd gone through the plane, getting on the plane, all that sort of stuff. We'd like touched a lot of surfaces, but we waited until we'd actually got up into the sky to do it. So obviously this had become pressurized and it just went everywhere. So we've actually not used that much. Half of that is now on an EasyJet flight seat somewhere because it just went everywhere. Anyway, they all go in this bag, like I said. These, I'm not taking these this time. We have cheap pair of sunglasses just because I'm very prone to leaving them somewhere and losing them. So there's no point getting expensive sunglasses. I think I must have been through about 5 or 6 different pairs of sunglasses in the past few years because I managed to lose them. But we don't need them because we're going to Belfast and it's supposed to be grey. I also have a bottle as well. And just like Cam was saying, we usually just store that down the side. I've got into the habit now of not actually filling it right up because that's extra weight. So what we end up doing is just sort of filling it halfway, and then if we find somewhere where we want to have some more water, we'll just fill it up then. One thing that I haven't mentioned yet are the bits of electronics that I take. So obviously we've got the sort of charging wire. This is my phone wire. I can also use this for the power bank, I think, so it can go into the power bank and it's not just the wall. But what I also take for us both is this one. This was a really good find. Cam got this for me for Christmas a few years ago. It's really good because on the side here you can just pick which adapter you want to use. So you've got the EU one, it's got a UK one which obviously we won't need. But then should we ever go on a trip to the USA or Australia, it's also got that version as well. But it's quite useful because it's got obviously this one here for the main plug, but what we use it for are these USB ports. What it then means is the pieces of equipment that we charge, notably my phone, I don't need to take the adapter with it. Not every hotel we've stayed in has a USB plug socket, or if it does, it's on the opposite side of the room. So it's quite useful for putting in the microphones, things like that. And then all you have to do is put that one thing into the wall. So it's a bit of a space saver and a weight saver as well. I also have headphones. I'm not a big fan of headphones that go over the top of the head. So really these are earphones. And again, Cam got me these for Christmas. They've been really useful. And just like Cam's headphones, I can charge these up and use them for even longer. I would say probably 3 or 4 days. So I don't actually take a wire to charge these with. I just make sure they're charged before I go. What I've got as well is our second camera. Now this camera is what we used when we first started vlogging, and it's a really good camera. It's a little bit like a GoPro, but it's got a few extra features which make it suitable for vlogging as well. It also connects up with our microphones that we use, so it's really useful. But the reason why we take this, not just as a backup camera, but the camera that Cam's holding can't be used if it's not even raining, if it's spitting, if there's a slight element of dampness or moisture in the air, we have to put the Osmo Pocket away because the gimbal can break, and it's an expensive piece of kit, so we don't want to be losing that and having to replace it. So on this upcoming trip, we've checked the weather forecast and we think this is going to be our main camera for outdoors because it is supposed to be a bit drizzly, a bit of rain when we're in Belfast. But it also means that we can use it if, say, Cam wants to be filming something and I want to film something separately. It's got a front-facing screen so you can see it when you're doing the piece to camera, but also it's got the main display on the back there.
And this tripod, if you lift it, pull up, pull up, pull out. Pull up.
Okay.
So it's got like a bit of a selfie stick, and then this bottom bit here opens up, and then you can put it down so that you can rest it on something as well. So it's really good because it clips right down to nothing.
Yeah, it's quite useful really, and it's easy
Nice.
to hold.
Light.
It's quite light to hold, and for something like this, it's actually fairly discreet. It's obviously not as discreet as what Cam's holding at the moment, but it's a really useful camera.
So this is what I'm currently holding at the moment. I have got the extender on so that you can hold it a bit easier, but you can take that off. But this is like a little bit thinner and smaller than this one. But we started with that, and it's nothing wrong with that camera. It's just the smoothness and the quality of this camera is a lot better than that camera, but the quality is still really good, but it just can't handle low light.
No, so we found out very early on that this isn't very good for indoor shots. So we'll be taking both with us. I think this one will actually be really good when we're out and about and doing more kind of action pieces as well. So that one goes in this case we've got. This case I think was actually for some toiletries that we had a few years ago, but it suits this. What this is the spare battery compartment. So this is nice and easy for us to use because we can have our spare batteries. There's one in the camera at the moment, and we can use this to charge all of them in one go.
And if you lift that up, it tells you how full the battery is as well. So that means they're all full. So if one was not full, you put it in and it have a lower light. So the battery on this camera is a lot better than this camera. It's good to take extra, isn't it?
Yeah, and also we're away for a longer period, like not a longer period, but we're away for an extra day this time. So it just means we're covered. This is the bag that we use for the microphones that we've got on at the moment. You can see it's just a fairly basic soft case, and it's got a zip compartment here. At the moment in the zip compartment, I'm not going to take it out, but we've got in there the wide lens to keep it safe, and that goes on the front of that camera, and it just means that we can have a wide lens shot if we want it, and then it's got a few other compartments here that we can use.
But I tend to just put this mic just literally just in there like that, not in one of the compartments. The mic's just resting there so they're easy to get out.
Yeah, it is actually quite thick in terms of its soft case. The only other things that we take are my phone, but my phone usually stays in my pocket anyway. I don't usually have protein bars. I have these breakfast biscuits, which again, as Cam explained, good on an early morning. And I also carry some Frutellas, not our number one choice, but we got them recently and they're really good for when we're on the plane. Because I think me more so than you, I get affected by the change in the altitude when you get the, what's it called? Yeah, the pressure. So just having a sweet usually helps relieve a little bit of that from time to time. The other thing I keep is the car keys. They just stay in the front of my bag. I've got gloves as well, which I'm going to take this time because if we're holding cameras and we're outside, it is going to be quite cold. I don't really want to get cold hands from doing that. So that's everything that I take in my bag, and you can see it's very similar to Cam's, but I'm more of the passports and toiletries. He has more of the electrical and camera equipment in his bag. What we'll do now is we will pack our bags ready for our trip to Belfast. I hope that video was helpful, and if you are planning any future trips where you're not taking a cabin or whole bag, it gives you a bit of idea of the sort of things you can take and you can fit in your bag.
Anything that we have mentioned in the video that is linkable will be in the description, such as the power bank, obviously our cameras we use, the backpacks we use, even our water bottles, and this power adapter for different countries. I'll link everything down below, so if you do want to grab anything, you can have a little look.
Thank you for watching this video, and we will see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.